A car ran through a stop sign going 70 miles per hour on cruise control and hit me on my driver's side door. It sounds crazy when I think about it. Everyone rushed to the hospital, but to me, none of this mattered. I didn't even know any of this was going on. I was completely blacked out, asleep. I woke up to noises and lights all around me. People running, rushing around me, and beeping noises from the little box that told me I was alive. That's when I realized these people were doctors, and I was in a hospital. I wanted to move, but I couldn't move. I was stuck. I could only move my eyes to see all of this happening around me. At that time, I didn't feel any pain. I actually felt peace, and I felt God completely covering over me. When I saw my family and friends in the hospital bed, I couldn't really talk to them much, but I kept telling them that God's got me, and He did have me.
My injuries were pretty bad. I broke my arm, I broke my finger, my elbow was poking out of my arm and they had to staple the skin over my elbow. I had a lot of glass in my head, in my face. I had cuts everywhere. I had glass in my hand. I broke my pelvis. I cut my kidney in half. My liver and spleen were lacerated. I chipped my vertebrae, which is a bone in my neck, so I had to wear a neck brace. I remember going into surgery and I had to get a metal rod put in my hip to hold my pelvis together, and that's permanent. I also remember them having to break my arm back in place, and I couldn't take any medication because my heart rate was already way too high. And I don't remember the pain, but I do remember screaming. I was on a lot of medication. I was on morphine, Norco. They tried different medications on me, antidepressants, and that just messed up my body. Some made my heart rate go up. I had a lot of anxiety attacks, so I was on anti-anxiety medication and sleeping pills, and I remember my friends were calling each other crying because they missed me. They missed talking to me, and when they talked to me, it's like they weren't even really talking to me, even though I was in the room and I was trying my best to hold a conversation with them. I could only get out a few words, and it would just take the breath out of me and I would fall asleep. The day they transferred me to rehab was probably the scariest and worst day of my life. They took me off most of my medication. They took me off like morphine, and they took me off my anti-anxiety medication, so I had a lot of anxiety attacks. That night was really painful. I was in a lot of pain, and I asked God to just take me to heaven so I didn't have to feel the pain anymore. Stuck. I just felt so stuck in a bed, just stuck in a bed. I felt like that was my life. I couldn't see any hope for myself because I couldn't move. And I would work out so hard in my bed. I would work out my arm, my right arm and my right leg, and I got stronger. I learned to sit myself up in bed. I learned to scoot to the end of the bed, and I learned to stand up on one leg and sit in a wheelchair. While I was overcoming all of these physical battles, I was also overcoming a lot of spiritual battles as well. One thing was I really had to overcome a lot of fear. Um, when I was little, I was sexually abused, and ever since then, I've had a very strong fear towards men. Um, I was just always terrified of what they could do to me, and I swore that if a man ever tried to do anything to me, I would rather die. I would fight until death. And I truly meant that. And being stuck in a room, in a bed, not being able to move my body, a man really could just go in the room and do whatever to me, and I wouldn't be able to defend myself. How would I be able to defend myself when even turning my body was just excruciating pain? And God really tested me because I had to trust solely and fully in Him and not on me. And one of my things that I really had to overcome was I told the whole staff. I told the physical therapy people, and I told all of the nurses and all the staff that I only wanted women showering me. And God really tested me because a woman got me in the shower and left me, and a man came in, and I told him no, that I didn't want any men showering me. I told him, please, get out. And he told me that my only option was for him to help me in the shower because nobody else was able to help me. So I really had to solely just trust in God that He was going to protect me, and I was a little bit frustrated, and I eventually forgave that man and God protected me. And I just, through all of my pain and suffering and all of the physical pain and emotional pain, God really held me in His hands, and I think I made it through because everyone was praying for me. And if you ever sent a card or came to visit me or even prayed for me, I would just want to thank you, because that's what lifted me up when I was down. Someone really special, her name is Ellen Miller, and she told me something that really changed my life. She told me, one day you're going to forget all the pain. And she told me, think about the pain that you feel right now. And she said, try not to forget it. Try to embrace the pain that you feel right now. And she said, one day you're going to forget all of this pain. And now she said, think about Jesus dying on the cross for you, and that He felt triple your pain. And that, how would you feel if people actually wanted to inflict that pain on you? And Jesus chose to die for us, even though He knew He was going to be in a lot of pain, a lot more pain than I was in. And people wanted Him to feel that pain, and still He chose to die for all of us. And that just brought a lot of hope to my life, because God can do anything. I'm not a strong person. I'm not stronger than anybody else, any normal person. It's just that I allowed God to be my strength. And He is my strength. And that's how I overcome.